Hey everyone, it's Sam Lovridge from GamesRadar here, and I'm here with Leon Hurley to talk about the Callisto Protocol.
Hello.
So, you're reviewing it, so give us your one-liner verdict on it so far.
It's a really good sci-fi game with some awful combat.
Oh, let's start with the really awesome sci-fi game element of it. Is it about the story or the characters or a little bit of everything?
It's a little bit of everything. It's really, really pretty. Like striking distance. It's obviously got Glenn Schofield and Michael Condrey, who are like Dead Space, Call of Duty. They're big people, but it's a new studio. So it looks amazing. It's got real echoes of things like Aliens, John Carpenter's The Thing, The Expanse. Lots of like really good kind of sci-fi kind of touch points. Story's fine. It's not like an amazing story, but it's a good enough one. The characters are great. It's exactly the sort of game I like.
But
the problem is, I played a preview of it where the combat was hard, but I assumed that I'd just been dropped halfway in the game cold. But I haven't played it from the start. I obviously don't know what's going on. I'm not prepared for it. But in the main game, the combat just doesn't work with more than one enemy. The system involves like dodging. So if you hold left and right on the stick, you'll dodge left and right when there's an attack, and that's great against a single enemy. But you can't move very quickly and you can't look around. So if there's more than one enemy, you can't reposition to get any space, and you also can't really look around.
does it feel quite slow?
Yeah, you're very slow to move, very slow to look. You can only really attack and deal with one, and then the others somewhere will just, they'll sucker punch you, they'll hit you, stuff will happen, and it's just really, really unforgiving. You can't take a lot of damage. They, on the other hand, can take a lot of damage, so you have quite long battles with 2 or 3 enemies, and you can just die at any point. It doesn't matter how well you do. Like
one hit kill.
Yeah, one hit kills come out of nowhere. So it just drains the life out of it. Like, I really wanted to enjoy it, and I really want to like it, and I still really want to like it. I'm playing it again now on easy, and it's a much more enjoyable experience. But on the default difficulty setting, you just die all the time, over and over again, just in general encounters, and that's not even going near the boss fight stuff.
How does that kind of compare to the fact that this is like a spiritual successor for Dead Space? Like, the combat sounds very, very different.
Well, I'm trying to think, 'cause Dead Space, you were slower, but I think it's as much to do, it's almost like the AI. I think with a different kind of like AI balance, you maybe would have a bit more, they wouldn't attack while you were attacking another one, which I know people sort of criticise things like Assassin's Creed for them all waiting their turn. But this is absolutely a game where they need to wait their turn, because if
you're just in the middle of all of the chaos.
Yeah, if you're facing like one enemy and trying to fight them, you can't do anything about any other enemy. Even if they're slightly to one side, you can't really turn quick enough to do anything about it or switch between them. So yeah, you just sort of get like beaten by sort of off-screen sort of enemies. And yeah, like it's the multiples that do it. There's a section where you fight all the way through to reach a point, and it's horrible because it's quite small corridors, and later on it starts to like really hem in the space. So there's like smaller corridors, smaller spaces, so you can't really move much anyway, but you have even less space to move, so you might suddenly find yourself up against a wall or up against a crate. And there's a section where you go into a small room, like a cabin, to switch a button to turn a thing on, and then like 4 enemies charge you in the room, and the only way I managed to get through that was to carry an explosive crate from one end of the level very gently, because if you throw it, it explodes. So I was sort of picking it up, dropping it, had to drop it down a balcony, carry it, and then
like a little baby.
Yeah, and then get it there so that when these 4 enemies came in, I could just pick it up and fling it at them and take them all out. Because to try and fight all 4 at once is, you just keep repeating it over and over again, hoping that you might get lucky and survive.
Do you have much choice in terms of like weaponry or like control over? You mentioned upgrades and stuff. Like, how does that kind of work?
So you've got you have your main weapon is like this sort of stun baton, which is you smack things with, and you get like a range of pistols and a range of there's like a hand cannon, which is kind of like the revolver, even though it's not a revolver. There's a tactical pistol which is fast but low damage. So it's all the normal things: assault rifle, shotgun, sawn-off shotgun, which is called a skunk gun for some reason. So there's a blend of different guns which are all really good. It's really satisfying to use them, but you have to kind of like keep everything at arm's length, which is you have to sort of. There's some areas where I basically got through it by memorizing the spawn points and hitting them as they appeared, because if you didn't deal with them quickly enough, they're on top of you, and then there's enemies everywhere.
So you mentioned having to switch it to easy. Like, have you found the balance of the combat and the story a bit better on easy mode?
Yeah, it's like on easy, it's a completely different game. Like you still kind of take a bit of a hit from the sides, and without where you can't
Doesn't
see.
feel quite as sort of unfair.
Yeah,
brutal.
You only have to take like 1 or 2 hits, and you can be like in a death state, and like one more hit will finish you. So in normal difficulty, yeah, you can be dead in seconds from full health.
Yeah.
In easy, you can take much more of a beating.
But it's still challenging. But
yeah, there's still. I mean, it's still
the balance is better.
Yeah, you have to get a bit further in before you start to get any kind of like noticeable challenge. But I'm still playing on easy, and there's still been a couple of points where I got beaten. It's like, okay, I need to be more careful here. I can't just like walk through it on easy.
Okay. Can you change difficulty at any point?
Yeah,
well?
You can change any point. Yeah. I spent the whole game like thinking I just want to play. I want to go down a setting, but it's a review. You play it on default settings. You play it as the developer presented it. So I didn't want to change the difficulty before I finished it.
Yeah.
But I'm enjoying it almost as a new game now, playing it on easy.
So let's talk about the story then. Like, obviously it's set on Callisto, the moon of Mars. Jupiter. There, see, I'm not good at space things. And you're trying to escape the prison. So, like, how is the story? Does it present a good sci-fi adventure? Yeah, it's good. I don't want to explain kind of too much. Like, the developers have been quite cagey about spoiling anything. But yeah, essentially you are a cargo pilot who crash lands on Jupiter and ends up in the prison. You end up on this kind of like... So all the other prisoners start turning into the creepy things, So you end up trying to basically escape from the prison. You're trying to get a ship. And it's a fairly basic kind of escape movie sort of premise almost. But it's a good enough story. The characters are nice. The performances are really good. Like the character, Jacob, who's the main character, is a nice sort of, everyman. There's almost this kind of level of exasperation when things go wrong instead of just kind of like, hero poses all the time. And it's very similar to Dead Space in that you are, you're not trying to save the galaxy. You're just trying to save yourself. Yeah. So it's like, we need to do this to get this. And then when we've got this, we can get the ship. And we've got the ship, we can... So it's very much like the aliens are getting in the way of you trying to escape the aliens. I mean, it's not like you're never going directly after the aliens. You are just trying to get the hell out of there. Yeah. So is there any kind of sort of stealth elements involved, or is it all kind of quite action based? On the sort of spectrum of horror games, it's very much at the action end of like survival horror. It's a lot of kind of noise and jump scares. There's some nice tension building in a few places, but it is largely shouting and noises and jump scares. They introduce stealth as a concept, and then rarely do you ever get the chance to use it, because it's very hard to like get behind an alien, behind a monster zombie thing, and stealth it. Apart from there is a stealth section in the middle, which is basically all stealth, which is actually quite nice because it's quite a change of pace, and it's much more manageable than the main game because it's all stealth all the time kind of thing. So there's no, if you don't do stealth, you fail, and so you just do stealth all the time. And we must talk about the magic weapon that's in it as well, the grav gun thing. The grip, that's the one. How is that? Does that kind of come into play too much, or it's good. It's never quite as useful as you kind of hope it's going to be. They have like kind of spiky walls and like air vent propeller blades and things, so there's stuff to chuck the actual zombie things in. Chuck the zombies onto, and but it is good fun. You can pick up gas canisters and stuff like that, but again it ties back into the sort of the slowness of movement and the ability to turn the camera around quickly to do a lot with it. You couldn't sort of grab something and then turn around like 180 degrees to find bought by something else, basically. And you can't always turn as quickly. They might wriggle free, so you very much have to kind of line it up to get the best out of it. Okay, interesting. So it sounds like quite a mixed bag then. So story's great, atmosphere's great, graphically great, combat better if you play it on easy. Yep. So what are we going to say score-wise? I'm going to give it 3 out of 5 stars. I really, really wanted to like it more, and it felt almost like it was kind of actively fighting my love for it with this sort of grinding combat that just drains the life out of it, having to just keep going over and over and over and over again, trying to get through fairly basic fights. Well, there you have it. 3 stars from us on Callisto Protocol. Thank you very much, Leon, and make sure to like and subscribe, follow us for more news, reviews, features and guides. Thanks very much, everyone.